Hello everyone, welcome back to another show of Straight from the Paws. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different type of program for you, sort of a continuation of last month's, which was about fostering and what it is to foster the animals, and that's really important. I want to also welcome back my co-host, Beverly Andrade.
I don't remember the last time I was on the show.
Oh, it's been a while. It's been good. It's all been good. We're still outside, thankfully. Very lucky for Forever Media where Lucy comes in and takes care of us outside, so really appreciate that. So today we're going to do a little bit something different, and we're going to introduce one of our Foster that you've probably heard a little bit about ahead of time because he's been on television, Channel 10 and Channel 6, but we want to give you a little bit of an indication of what it's like to have certain dogs that need specific help.
So I am going to introduce you to one of our staff members, Nolan, and Nolan's going to bring out this dog that was found in Fall River, and we call this dog Pasha. So out comes little Pasha, not very little. So Pasha has been with us a little over 3 weeks, and we're trying to find the perfect foster home for Pasha. Pasha was found emaciated and very, very sick. He has congestive heart failure. His prognosis is there's no cure for that. So Pasha is going to be going into a hospice situation pretty soon. We've been screening multiple applications for Pasha to go to a home. Some of the restrictions that we did put into place for Pasha were a home without children and a home without another dog. And it's not because Pasha doesn't get along well with dogs, it's just that Pasha can't play. As you can see him here, he's a very docile giant. The vet, he did go to New England Animal Medical Center in West Bridgewater a couple of weeks back. And they did put him on a lot of medication. And since he's been on the medication and a special diet, he's actually alert. I think, Nolan, if you would just tell, this is alert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't alert before. He was on death's door, basically. We did get a lot of media on Pasha. Due to the situation, people wanted to donate to his care. Because of that, all of his medical care in foster hospice care will be taken care of thanks to our wonderful followers on Facebook, on Instagram, and just in general the people who come to the shelter. So with all of that money that did come in for Pasha, his medical care will be taken care of for the rest of his life.
Well, I'm not sure that it's going to be the rest of his life. We're going to see what we can do. You know, I mean, I'm not mean to interrupt you, but you know, hopefully Pasha will be able to live 3 to 4 years, and the medical will take care as much as we can, and we'll help the people that foster him. We'll see where that goes from there. That's what's happening.
So when we got Pasha, he was, we would call this an abuse of an animal. His ears have been eaten away by flies. He's probably lived in a very small caged environment without a lot of bedding. You can see his elbows, his knees, they're all scabbed and blistered and peeling away. So this is a kind of animal, when Denise was talking last month about why we need a foster program, and Pasha is a prime example of why we need a foster program. Pasha has to have medication even in the evening, so we do have volunteers that come back to Forever Paws and medicate Pasha in the evening and give him another meal. Pasha has been so underweight. I think he came to us under 130 pounds or thereabouts, when I believe he should weigh close to 200, right? He should weigh like 198, 199, 205. He should be in that range. I believe New England Animal Medical Center called him an Italian Mastiff. So there's all different kinds of Mastiffs. So he should be very highly prized animal, and instead he was severely neglected animal. So keeping forward with what we said last month about fostering, this is one of the examples of fostering. Pasha over here is in severe need of a foster home. Why? we don't want him living in a shelter for the rest of his days. Yeah, he gets a lot of attention. Nolan gives him a lot of attention. Nolan's his go-to person. Pasha does follow Nolan all around the building when we're closed, so he is getting a little bit of exercise in his new foster home without any other pets. He has to be in a docile environment. So you can't take him out jogging, you can't take him out bicycling. His heart is just not going to be able to withstand that kind of stress. So he needs to just go out to do his duty in the yard, maybe walk around. Nolan walks him around here, gently and slow, and then he sleeps a lot during the day. So this is Nolan's pet project right now, making sure that we're in good shape. So Nolan, I want to thank you for bringing Pasha out today, and he's going to be back with another one of our dogs.
Hello folks, now we have, remember Denise, our foster coordinator. Denise has multiple roles around here, but today she wants to share with you a little bit about these kittens. I guess, Bev, you're going to talk a little bit about the kittens that Denise brought out for us?
Yeah, so we're continuing this show about fostering, and if you recall, Denise did the show last month about the importance of fostering, and today we're showing you why. We did Pasha, and now we have here 3 scrawny looking, kind of messy looking kittens that came into Forever Paws. I have a Himalayan kind of Siamese kind of kitten. Denise has a sibling of that, and believe it or not, this black and white one is also a sibling of these kittens. So who knows who the parents were? We really don't know. So when kittens like this come into Forever Paws, especially this year, unbelievable the year we've had with kittens. They say because it was a mild winter, we had a lot of kittens. We've been inundated all year, spring and summer, and going into the fall with these babies. This is what they look like when they come in. They're scrawny, skinny, infested with worms. They have fleas all over them. These have already been treated for fleas, but as you can see, they need foster. They need mommies. So all summer I did have a couple of fosters, and as a foster mom, you take babies like this and you become their mommy. So you bathe them, you stimulate them to go to the bathroom, you feed them, and after you feed them, you have to wash them. These kittens just ate, and they're covered in food, and the staff, you know, has to take care of them, but it might be once a day, where in foster, they get cleaned up after every meal. And when I have my fosters like this, they eat all day long. It's not just 3 times a day. I feed them in the morning, I feed them late morning, I feed them in the afternoon, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, and before bed. So they're eating constantly. Their bellies are so little, and they can't absorb the amount of food that they need to thrive. So we feed them all day long. In the shelter, they only eat 2 or 3 times a day, and they get dirty. So this is the importance of fostering. Denise couldn't stress it enough last month, and Gail and I have been talking about it on this show.
Let me clarify something. When Bev says, well, you know, they only get fed 3 times a day, understand they always have food.
Oh yeah, they always have
in
food.
Their crate with them. It's not like in their cage. It's not like they're just left and they only get 3 meals a day when the staff is here. They're left with a good supply of clean water at night, some food, some kibble. They're left with all the necessities.
But they don't have a mommy.
They don't. That is the difference. They don't
That's
have
the
a mommy,
difference.
And the exercise is different and so on. So they're stimulated more in a foster home. But I don't want people to get the wrong impression, you know, that, well, the staff just leaves them. And sometimes we just have some volunteers, when we can get over COVID, that'll come in and, you know, play with the kittens and maybe even help get them cleaned up a little bit in between. But unfortunately, times are tough right now, as we all know, and that isn't happening as much as we'd like it to. But when, you know, we look at these kittens and we say, okay, they're looking cute and they've got a good way to go before they go into a foster home. But Denise will get them a good foster home. They'll stay for a couple of weeks. They'll make sure that their nutrition is good and so on and so forth. And then they'll come back And usually what happens is we've already got them up and ready to be adopted, right, Denise?
Yep.
They're all ready to go out and to be adopted right away. And that's an important part because we want them to find their forever home. And agreed, we talked about last month, there are so-called foster failures where someone says, gee, I really love this kitten, I don't want to let them go, I'll take 2 of them and whatever. That happens too when we lose good fosters. But overall, someone like Bev who's been doing it for years, she does have them. She's had them all summer.
You're a stinky kitty.
5 in a litter, 3 in a litter, 2 in a litter, 1 and come individually, come with another one, and they all seem to find good homes. So I think that covers it for our little kittens here, you think? I think
So as people,
Denise is being attached to a kitten there.
but this is what we wanted to show on this episode. This is why we need fosters. I believe Denise is already starting the process to get these guys out. So they'll get into foster care by the end of this week. They'll be in foster care. They'll have new mommies to take care of them. And their little butts will be all clean. I know they're all dirty. Poor babies. So these just came in. Don't think we leave them like this. But this was a good show to actually come today when we got these little babies that need to go out. And the general public doesn't usually see these. No. So this has been very, very good. Now we all need to be...
I'm not sure that Ariana's going to be happy that we presented them like this, but I think it's...
Well, I told her this is why people need to see this. This is why fostering is so important. Because when the public comes to see them, they're so cute and they're fluffy and they're all ready to go home. But this is the before. This is how they come into Forever Paws. They come in dirty and stinky, and they're going to look beautiful and not in just a couple of days.
Hi.
And those 2 Siamese Himalayans, boy, do they have beautiful eyes.
Blue.
Oh, yeah, they're so beautiful. Denise isn't mic'd, so you'll see her mouth moving, but we know what she's saying. That's the COVID for you, taking a TV show outside like this. But I want to thank Denise very much for coming out with these little critters.
Say bye-bye.
And they're going to get a nice little bath and cleaned up, and it was very fortunate that we got those at this time. It worked out perfect for this TV show.
Thank you.
So right now we're going to take a break and we're going to have Nolan come out with another dog.
All right, everyone. We have our last little foster child that we want to share with you, coming in with Nolan. Little dog's name is Avery, and we got a little special situation. This is another I would call special needs, a dog
Come
that
on
needs some
in,
help.
Nolan. Hey, here comes Avery. So Avery is a husky, I believe a husky mix. So yeah, I got kitten hands, huh? So Avery came to us as a stray, I believe, and Avery has had a eye situation, and right now I think Avery's eye is blind, which would be Avery's right eye. It was very large, swollen, and was almost going to have to be removed. And at this point, I don't think, Nolan, does it have to be removed?
No.
No. So Avery's another kind of animal that would do well in a foster situation. Avery's a female. She's a young dog, a young husky mix, and she's full of energy. She needs some training, which would be great if we had a foster for Avery to go take her to some training classes. That would be awesome. In the meantime, Avery is up for adoption. So if somebody is interested in adopting Avery before we get her into a foster, that would also work too. I believe there's some stipulations about Avery being in a home without small children, because Avery is just going to knock small children over. But as you can see, if Avery would have had the surgery on her right eye, you know, she would have had to go into foster care immediately, because we couldn't have left her in the shelter like that. But luckily, we've been able to keep her eye. I think she's a little over 1, Nolan?
About 2 to 3.
So she's around 2 to 3. That's a good age, but she's more like a puppy. She's just a hyper, fun little dog someone would want. So this is another example of why we need fosters. We're very fortunate, because when we were getting ready for this show, we thought she was going to have that eye removed, but coming down, the swelling. She's on medication, so at this point in time, she doesn't need to have her eye removed. But again, it's just another example of what Forever Paws does.
I want to interject also too that a dog like this needs a lot of walking and you know, a lot of exercise and so on. And now again with COVID, we don't have a lot of volunteers coming in to walk the animals because we just can't have so many people in the building in and out. So what's going to happen is hopefully, you know, we're supposed to be in July, then it was August and September, you know, we're going to have a walking program that our director Ariana Silva is going to put together and train people how to walk the dogs on these collars. They're called Martingale collars, and train our volunteers to walk the dogs. We have a great pathway that we've talked about in the past. We're going to work on that and have the dogs be able to walk on that pathway so they'll get some of the energy out. But again, I have a very small staff, and without having volunteers, it's very difficult for them to be walking the dogs and taking care of all the physical needs within the building, the medications and so on. So hopefully once we get a cure for COVID, we'll be back to normal down here. We'll have our walking program, and it'll be really great for animals like this. And we'll keep our fingers crossed. We are watching her eyes medically, and make sure that that eye is going to be okay. And she may not see through it, but at least she won't have to lose the eye.
Yeah, and she's calm for 30 seconds. Yep. Wow.
That's good.
She's calm for a couple of seconds. Yeah, that's wonderful.
She's obviously very friendly, and she's a good dog, but she just needs a lot of TLC and possibly a good foster home
and medication.
And medications.
Yeah, so she's going to need medication too. So at least I think that with this show today, you're going to see why Denise works so hard finding fosters for us. Dogs like Avery and Pasha, and kittens, which this year, 2020, has been, I've been a volunteer here for so many years. I don't ever remember a year like this with kittens. They come in almost every day. We have kittens coming in. It's incredible. And just so you know, you won't see them up on our website with our animals because we have a kitten wish list. So the majority of our animals, our kittens, go to the wish list. People on the wish list have been waiting for kittens, so we call them up and say we got 5 kittens today, all spay and neutered. We go to the wish list, they come in, they pick their kitten, and the kittens are out. So if you're interested in kittens, you have to fill out an application and be approved ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is the first year we're doing this, and again, it's because of so many kittens being in foster care and not knowing everything that was going on. So we've changed things around a little bit. Again, having a new director, we do change some of our business and how we're doing our business. But when you have all of these kittens coming in and you have a list long, and you can't, it's not like going to the supermarket where you can pick out, well, I want this particular item, I want Oreos with cream, no, I want this, I want the vanilla instead. It's not like that. You can put out, the wish list. You may give it specifics as to what age group you want, and then we give you an idea of what's available, and then you can come in and your application's approved ahead of time. I think that's really important. We've never done that in the past. We're doing it this year.
Well, we also have a pandemic this year.
Right, things have changed. Things have changed. True. This may not be happening next year. Maybe a little different next year.
Things will be different next year, maybe.
But I think, so hopefully things will be different next year. But this, it's a learning curve, and we always have a learning curve here. We always have a way of figuring things out.
I think Avery wants to play with you.
I think so. I think we have ways of working things out. Yes, I love you too. I know. So that's what's important here, folks. I think you have to understand it's a little bit different. We'll probably be meeting out here with poor Lucy in November and December in the freezing cold and snow. And
we'll decorate the trees.
We'll have to be out here. But it is what it is. We all have to adapt, and unfortunately the animals have to adapt too. But as you can see, they get a lot of love and as much as they can with the staff. And I would just want to let people again say, please, if you have in your heart ability to, want to do some fostering or want to adopt, or also back to Pasha, I want to thank everybody that has donated for his care. It's going to take a lot of money, and we've received a lot, and we'll continue to receive some, I hope, and take care of that dog, because that dog deserves a better chance at life. That dog did not deserve what it got in life, and sadly, we hope that he'll be taken care of in the best way possible, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we try to do at Forever Paws. We say that we are, the label of no-kill shelter, people don't like using that, but I think in this case, many other places would have had to make that decision, but we decided, especially when we found out, even before then, we knew the dog was only approximately 3 years old. Ari was like, we've got to save this dog. This dog is such a love and such a sweetheart. And it's not because he wasn't aggressive or anything, it's just the way we are down here. We're going to do as much as we can to save as many animals as we can. And with your help in the general public, we can't do it without you. So I want to thank everyone out there in our audience that listens every week, month, whatever, and pays attention to what we're doing out here because, when I first started this, I committed to only 1 year, and now I think I've been doing it 3 or 4.
I think 5 or 6.
And I think it's just a matter of, reaching out to anybody that we can reach out to let them know what we're doing in our shelter. And I want to thank you all for viewing this program and giving us the time into your home. Thank you again and have a great day.